Hello, everyone. Welcome to our brand new podcast. My name's Sarah and I'm from Smile Mediation.
My name's Marcus and I'm from Bridge Harmony Mediation. And together,
We're the
with
middle
Middle
ground.
Ground. And so, for episode 2, we're about to share some very exciting news with you. Sarah.
Yes. So the Smile team went to the Shelnspires Awards on Thursday night.
Hey, let's
And
go.
we were actually successful in winning the award for going above and beyond. We just thought that might be a really good topic for today's episode. So to start the episode off talking about going above and beyond. So what can we as mediators, or what can we do to go above and beyond? What type of
That's a
things?
great question. Going above and beyond means a list of different things, but I feel that's at the top of that list as a category would be open communication, healthy team dynamics, and balance with the team. Like, what do each people like, and what do people bring? How can teams adapt to the different dynamics of each other? What needs improving? Like, it's having an open, healthy conversation of like what works and what worked for one team or department won't work for another team or department, and it's just getting that right. And yeah, I feel like communication's absolutely at the core point of everything, and helping each other out as employees as well.
It's important to be open and honest with each other, isn't it, as team members? I think there's things around with the team, sort of allowing a bit of a flexible approach as well. So, for instance, one of our team members working from home today because of childcare issues and things like that. And it's really important that that we're able to do that. It's important that the team are there for one another, and that we work in, like you said, about working to each other's strengths and things like that. For instance, we've got Ella who does all the marketing and stuff, and and the admin and all that, as well as case coordination, because that's what she's good at. Being young and everything. And then we've got Ange, who's doing the mediator wellbeing stuff now. So she's 28 hours doing mediator wellbeing. It's really important role. That's another way that we go above and beyond. So now she's got 28 of her 37 hours looking after mediators wellbeing and sort of checking in with them. She's got a lot more time to do it. But she's been here for such a long time, I think about 10 years now. And she knew a lot of the mediators. So I think that's playing to her strengths as well.
Definitely, yeah, definitely.
So yeah, there's lots of ways that we go above and beyond, I think.
Hmm.
We mediate up to 9 o'clock at night to
Yeah.
allow for parties who are working.
Hmm.
A lot of parties ask us for not in school run hours.
Yeah.
That's quite a popular one. So it's important that we can it's good that we've got a wide variety of mediators who are available at all different times of
Yeah.
day to fit in with all the different parties' needs and things.
So why is it important then?
Um, well, to encourage people to engage.
Yeah,
So
fantastic.
yeah, it's really important, and they need a lot of encouragement to engage sometimes, because like anybody, people can avoid difficult conversations. Um, it's a challenge, isn't it, to sort of, I know I've been in situations at work where I've wanted to have a conversation with somebody, but it's been really awkward.
Yeah.
And it's been a case of going up to them and saying, "Can we go and have a word?" It sounds quite, I don't know, what is the word for that? So
I don't know. Yeah,
confrontational,
yeah,
doesn't
it's
it?
different approaches, really, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
like, how you approach that situation is different for everyone. But I think across the country, it's making sure that it gets done so it doesn't upset the team, it doesn't hinder anything that's going on in the team dynamic. The reason Smile works so great again is because everyone is open and honest, like you just said, and hence the Above and Beyond award. So, as you mentioned before, difficult conversations leading to our second topic.
Marcus, why do you think we avoid difficult conversations?
We avoid them because it's exposing a part of vulnerability that no one wants to see us. No one wants to come across as vulnerable, weak, or underhanded in any way to make that first step. They want to, in today's site, it's framed as well. it's a weakness, isn't it, to
Mm.
talk about feelings, and that's the way society's framed it. When really, when you look at it, it's the biggest strength, and
Mm.
that's again relating back to episode one. Like my one of my favorite principles is the voluntary process,
Mm.
because it's exposing that vulnerability to go into that space, to volunteer yourself to talk about a difficult issue.
Mm.
And I feel like that's so relatable because it's difficult. It's difficult to show you your true self in today's modern society.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the amount of sort of community mediations I've done where I've spoken to people and they haven't even been round to the neighbour's house and had a conversation about what's been happening, about how they've been feeling about it. So it shows that it's common, isn't it,
Mm,
not to want
mm,
to approach somebody. I think it's stressful for you as a person to have that conversation
mm.
because you're worrying about what you sort of play it through in your mind, don't you? What they're going to
Yeah.
say back to you, and um, and then what you're going to say. And I think the most recent one I did where she said she'd not been round, I've said to her, what's the worst? What is it that you're concerned about? What will happen? And she said their neighbour might shout at her, and then I sort of said, and then what?
Hmm.
What? Um, and it's sort of getting people to think like that. But have you got any examples of um, difficult conversations that you've had?
Yes.
And how did it feel when you needed to have that conversation?
Quite enlightening, really, because I was surprised that when I had such a difficult conversation, especially when it was me as one of the parties, I felt a lot of relief, the fact, and I felt a lot more confident. I mean, we're talking like 5, 10 years ago of really difficult conversation. And I felt that I could have more and more difficult conversations about that. And you build like a confidence of, well, it needs to be said. And then you change your setting of how can I make this safe so the message is coming across clearly and not like an attack, if that makes sense.
Not everybody's like that, are they? Not everybody goes in with that empathy, especially in community where
Mm,
things have been going on for maybe a year,
yeah,
and it's just so stressful when it's constant and people are living in each other's pockets, especially since the pandemic. The tolerance levels just totally decreased. They're not used to sort of um, coming outside and connecting with people anymore. People are starting to get out and about now,
yeah,
um, and they've lost all the skills, a lot of them, to sort of be together.
yeah.
Leading up to that conversation,
Mm,
so not having had the conversation, leading up to that difficult conversation, what you had,
mm.
how did you feel in the few days before you had it, when you knew it
Obviously,
was coming?
I was feeling very vulnerable, scared. Um, Obviously, the human brain will think of the worst possible outcome first, and then that's right, enables you to try and move forward. But then I thought, well, what's the best that can happen? What's the
Mm.
best that can happen from this situation? And I turned it on its head,
Mm.
turned the iceberg upside down, and I thought, right, okay, the best thing that can happen from this situation is this, and this. And if I get one of those, brilliant. If I don't get any of them, I'm still proud of myself for having that conversation. So I took it as a pat on the back, first and foremost, stepping forward to have that conversation. That was already a little, okay, this is happening. And if any of these happen that, I do or don't want, brilliant. It's a bonus. The fact that you turn up for yourself is the biggest pat on the back.
Mm.
And you?
I'm trying to think of difficult conversations I've had. I think I think I have avoided them. I mean, I know I have. Um, I've avoided a conversation with my previous neighbour before this one, to the point where it was really, really noisy, really, really stressful for ages and ages and ages, to the point where I just ended up shouting at him in the street. Um, which is not me. I don't do that, but I think because I didn't sort of try and have that conversation before I got to that point, I think it was because I was tired and everything as well. But yeah, it led me to just start shouting at him in the street. Or I've had
How that make you feel?
relief initially, but then obviously you've got to carry on living next door to him, haven't you? So, um, yeah, it just made things even more uncomfortable in the end. So that's what happens when we don't talk about mediation. It leads us to start shouting in the street, like my example. Um, how can how does having a mediator there, do you think, help to make that conversation a bit easier?
Great question. It offers, I believe, it offers a safe space, a new pair of ears to look at the situation from both perspectives, to understand both perspectives. And I think from a mediator's viewpoint, when they have two clients and they've heard both sets of stories, they've not judged either party, and they're coming in from a neutral point of view to investigate in a way of what would be best for both of them. So, as we both know in a joint session, is I call it sacred space,
Uninterrupted.
uninterrupted time. And that is like their sacred space of where they get to hear and feel their viewpoint of that. A mediator's role is absolutely essential in conflict, from neighborhood to workplace. I think they're absolutely essential. Yeah, and yourself.
I think, like you say, the uninterrupted time. If you sort of that heightened and everything while something's actually going on, um, you're you're not gonna be. I think we covered it in episode 1. You're not gonna be listening to each other properly. Whereas having a mediator there in that uninterrupted time, people know that they're going to be able to say what they need to say. And then if the mediator, having spent an hour or so with the parties beforehand,
Yeah.
think that anything's been missed out that might be important to get out in the open, they can ask questions to try and get that sort of everything out.
Total
But yeah,
neutrality, in it.
yeah, I think the whole sort of process is the first part is obviously the individual meetings where the people get to go over everything and really get everything off the chest, and sometimes just hearing themselves talking and having a mediator summarize back or reframe things, and that can be really helpful in sort of encouraging a different way of thinking, preparing people for the joint meeting.
Yeah.
And then the joint meeting, you've got the expectations, the principles that we've covered, then the uninterrupted time, and then encouragement to be really creative in coming up with solutions
Yes.
together as well, with the help, and encouragement from the mediators.
Okay, so before we close, advice for our audience of, from your opinion, Sarah, how can we have a difficult conversation?
So my advice for somebody who would is thinking about having a difficult conversation is just to get it out there. A few deep breaths, and then just say what you need to say. But consider the best way to get the best outcome from the conversation. So rather than going in and saying, "You're doing my head in, you need to stop behaving like this," perhaps, when this is happening, it's really impacting on me because this is how I'm feeling about it. Focus on the impact and how you're feeling rather than sort of putting blame and thinking about whose fault it is and that type of thing, because you will get a better outcome.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if you're really struggling to have that conversation, get a mediator.
Get a mediator. And I feel like my approach and advice to you guys at home and listeners would be, use an empathy first mindset. And what that looks like is knowing that they might be embarrassed of that conversation too. They might be, flip the script. You might be embarrassed. They might be embarrassed, or they might not be embarrassed. It might be absolutely nothing to them. It might be absolute the tiniest thing in the world to them. And you see this all the time. Like, what is really huge to you might be just, oh, do you know what? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. So, but it's having that little bit of courage, a little bit of confidence to think, do you know what? And write down on a piece of paper. Write down a piece of paper. What is it you'd like to say? What's annoying you? What's frustrated you? And, you don't have to show that person at all. But as long as you're psychologically writing it down, a problem written down is half the problem. And you can just vocally say, can I grab you 30 seconds? This happened the other day and it's just not sitting quite well with me. This can be used in either a neighborhood or workplace setting. Hi, you're right, can I catch you for a second? These little openers, you're gonna be all right. And taking that first step, it's taking that first pat on the back for yourself that, and talk to someone, maybe just to unpack some of that fear as well before you go into that conversation. So there's nothing explosive. Um, yeah.
I think as well, try not to, I think I said earlier about playing it out in your mind, how it's going to go, what they're going to say in return to what you say, and sort of making assumptions as to why they're doing what they're doing, or
Yeah.
why, what they're going to say to respond to you. Don't assume they're going to shout at you. They might be completely oblivious to any of it. So, yeah, just go in with an open mindset.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, it's been lovely again, Sarah. And yeah, we'll draw to a close there and catch you on episode 3.